What's up, everyone? My name is Bavin. Welcome to Pokélosophy, where I teach life, health, and philosophy through Pokemon, my introspective teaching tool. It's better than a whiteboard, maybe better than a journal, I think. No, it's definitely fun in my own quirky way, which is why I started this channel. I wanted to do something a little different. I had a great discussion with one of my YouTube commenters, and it's in the famous now Smell Your Poop Like Dr. K Does video, episode number 37. And we kind of went back and forth about some tips on managing anxiety. And after the discussion, I had this epiphany. And thank you again, CJS Dizzy. I appreciate your question and our quick discussion. I wanted to do an episode actually on how to manage anxiety. But what does that mean? How we're going to get into it? So let's actually talk about something a little different. So instead of a quote, I decided to use or discuss a strategy that I've been taught by my therapist, and I don't use it as much as I used to. I've used it a few times in my hand, but these are really good for putting out fires. So I want to be clear about this. This is to manage your anxiety when it's a fire. You still have to deal with it in terms of doing all the groundwork to make sure you don't get fires. That's a separate, totally different topic. But at least if you have a fire in your head, or at least if you have anxiety and you don't know what to do about it, this strategy does work, and it's called TIPP. Temperature, intensive exercise, paced breathing, and progressive muscle relaxation. We'll go over those in a second, but basically, if you control your temperature and then engage in intensive exercise with some paced breathing and some stretching, that is a lot to reduce the fire of anxiety temporarily so you can go about your business and deal with it later. Okay, so I wanted to use Pokemon as a teaching tool here, in that you should look at anxiety as fire Pokemon, right? And I picked the Charmander evolution tree, or series I should say, as a really great metaphor on how anxiety works. So anxieties are basically fires, but they can evolve into a big fire. All anxiety trigger events, even though it may seem instantaneous to you, it is actually a evolution, just like Charmander evolving to a Charizard. So all anxiety trigger events, all anxiety starts off as a Charmander, and what seems like a split second to you, you can theoretically divide that into different components and you can see it transform instantaneously. But again, if you slow it down, you can see it evolve into a Charmeleon, then a Charizard. Sometimes your anxiety slowly builds up so you can actually spot the differences, or sometimes it's so quick it just happens like warp speed, right? But it's basically, it always starts off as a Charmander and evolves into a Charizard if you don't deal with it. Now, that's the question. Now, we're trying to prevent, anxiety is going to happen. It happens to all of us. It's a normal part of the human existence. The question is, how do you manage it? So what I want to talk about is preventing your anxiety from turning into a Charizard. So how do you keep it small enough, or if it gets big enough, how do you handle that, right? So the first thing you have to do before even considering even getting to a Charmander, remove any external stimulus that causes you to have a fire in your head and creates a Charmander, and then which will then eventually turn into a Charizard. So what does that mean? If you have any external stimulus or substances that cause anxiety, deal with it and get rid of it, or manage them carefully. On a personal note, caffeine is fuel to my anxiety, and I'm learning to reduce my intake. As much as I love it because it helps my ADHD, it is a problem. So I'm trying to balance the two as best I can. But I've noticed that when I reduce my caffeine intake, it's pretty incredible that how much of a difference it's made for me in terms of not turning my anxieties into a Charizard. It usually stays at a Charmeleon now, which is amazing. So we have to tap into our inner Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise to do TIPP, and I'll show you how it works. So based on your anxiety, whether it's a Charmander, Charmeleon, or a Charizard, you can pick your internal Squirtle, Wartortle, or Blastoise to deal with it. Let's use Wartortle as an example. Your anxiety is now a Charmeleon for whatever that is. Let's say you're afraid of public speaking, right? But you have the tools to deal with that initial anxiety. it won't go away, but we can at least weaken it, right? So here's how it works. Temperature. Water gun is a move that War Turtle knows. You can fire a water gun at a Charmeleon, takes off half the damage, or whatever it may be. In your personal life, that is splashing cold water on your face. Maybe if you have access to a winter storm, walk out to the winter storm, whatever you can do to reduce your temperature. Cold water to your face is one of the best ways to do it. So if you have that kind of event going on where you get this anxiety attack or whatever it is, go see it, go get some water on your face, drink some water, use the War Turtle water gun move. The next is intensive exercise. This is maybe War Turtle goes for bite. If it's a different Pokemon, it could be quick attack. Whatever intensive exercise you can think of. I just picked bite because bite's part of the learn set for War Turtle. But again, the idea is like a quick movement, right? Maybe even use X speed, right? Maybe you can use an X speed. So maybe go for a run outside or do something quickly, intensively in a short burst. Use it as an attack, and that will actually reduce your anxiety even further. Now, your damage. So if you notice, I started off War Turtle with less health because it's affecting you, it's hurting you. But guess what? You're a water Pokemon with this. You can attack fire. It's easy. You just gotta identify and label it. And then you have to use rest. So I use rest for both paced breathing and progressive muscle relaxation. I use the TM rest as an example because you can teach rest to any Pokemon. Things like yoga, stretching for the last step, yes, but basically slow your breathing down after you've done the exercise. And it's easier because you're tired, so you have to rest anyway. Sit down, breathe for a bit, and then stretch, and then that's your rest stage. Now, how you finish off this Charmeleon over here, that's dependent on the situation, because it could be a wild Pokemon, then he's got to run, right? Because maybe you couldn't run before because the Charmeleon was stronger than you, so you have to kind of deal with that. Or you can fight it, right? And this is where you kind of continue using bite or water gun if it's still alive, and eventually it will go away. But it doesn't go away forever. It just puts out the fire. You will get that Charmander to a Charmeleon to a Charizard again, and your job is to practice labeling those moments so you can act on tip. Okay? That's the hardest part of all this. The hardest part is actually catching yourself going, oh wait, I have an anxiety attack. That's a Charmander. No, it looks like it's a Charmeleon. Oh no, it's a Charizard now. Crap. I gotta use my Blastoise. So that's the hardest part of all this. It's not the actual... I just hit my lamp. That's the hardest part of all this. The hardest part is actually practicing and labeling those moments. This takes a lot of work. This took me years to eventually realize that, oh, I can use a Squirtle to my advantage. Or in my case, I just kind of say, okay, this is a fire in your head. Go deal with it, right? Just getting to that point takes time, takes meditation, takes journaling, understanding your triggers, understanding all those causes that really amounts to what causes that Charmander to pop up in your head that eventually evolves into a Charizard. And remember, this is all about putting out fires. You still have to do a lot of work with a therapist, your own introspection, maybe watching Pokélosophy. And the truth is, fires will always happen. I don't care how good you are in life, anxiety will always be there in some moment in time. Fires will happen. This is where you have to do the work and deal with it. But TIPP is one of the best tools you have at your disposal, and it's free. That's the best part of this. So what we're gonna do a quick demo. I have a Raticate with Ice Beam, and we're just gonna fight a wild Pokemon. Let's pretend that's anxiety, okay? Perfect timing. Oh, that's weird. That is the weirdest thing. I said it, that is so weird. Okay, that really freaked me out. So now I'm battling myself. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Let's use Ice Beam because we're using TIPP. So temperature, get it down. Ah, it's still alive. Okay, good. This is a really great metaphor. Now we're gonna let's just end it. And let's use double team to speed us up. So this is like that intensive exercise. Increases our evade. It's not perfect, but it helps you a little bit. And then now we can, I guess we have to finish attacking it. Oh, that's where my metaphor fails. I don't have rest. But if you use rest, you can get your damage back. Let's assume I used rest. I'm rested again. We'll end it off with a Hyper Fang, or we could run away. There you go. That's how you manage anxiety when it pops up in your head. And you just gotta deal with it. Again, it doesn't address the underlying causes, but you can at least put those fires out. I hope that's helped you. I had a lot of fun prepping this episode. It was a great analogy that I think that can help a lot of people, and I hope this speaks to you and you can go about your day a little better. That's it. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. If you have any questions like what CGS Dizzy did, feel free. Maybe I could do an episode about one of your questions. With that being said, take care, everyone. I'll probably be posting next week, so I hope everyone has a good weekend and rest up. Talk soon. Take care.